Holy MSI Mega Preview Monday! This is Flight Check, Season 5, Episode 19. We are back once again, talking all aspects of FlyQuest, and we have more FlyQuest to talk about, because this Friday, June 27th, MSI begins. And while FlyQuest will thankfully not be playing in the play-in stage, all eyes will be on Vancouver this Friday as G2 takes on Furia and GAM takes on BLG. My name, as always, is Sandy Toes to my left, and my extra left, my fellow host Noxwar and Curly Double Q. Fellas, it's that time of year again. MSI is here, international competition is back, and let's be real, like, actually, this time, instead of the Mickey Mouse First Stand tournament. This is the first real international tournament of the year. Big competition, big stakes, some very exciting teams. You have, if I'm gonna be frank, you have, like, 2 NA teams at this MSI. Because not only do you have FlyQuest, you also have Movistar, Mad Lions Koi. Is it Movistar Koi? MKoi, whatever they are now?
Yeah,
JoJo!
They changed that team name like 800 times in the last 2 years.
and they will change it 800 more.
Yeah, they will.
But we will know who they are.
But yes, JoJo representing. I'll be honest. Like, yes, they are a EMEA team. I will be rooting for them just a shade lighter than I will be for FlyQuest. Simply because we've got the NA potential GOAT Midnighter. If he gets a few more accomplishments under his belt. In JoJo Pune taking on the world alongside the Spanish Goon Squad over at MKoi. Big tournament. It's going to be really exciting, but let's catch up a little bit. There's been a lot going on post finals. We touched on it briefly. There were several roster rumors that happened. Here's the fun one that I just want to quickly get the reaction to. Abadaga, off of Disguised, makes his way back to EU, and he's joining SK Gaming. What a move! The yet another paycheck is written out for Abadaga.
So you want the hot take? I actually think he's probably gonna. I think he's gonna do okay. Actually, I think he's gonna look
great over there.
I think he's gonna look like 5 times better than he did on Disguised.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a sentiment I kind of see in a good amount of places. It might be like a just lukewarm take.
Do you think it's an environment thing? Like, he's not surrounded by, like, let's be frank, I mean, not the best players on Disguise. It's not that SK was, like, very good. As I recall, I mean, they didn't make playoffs, first of all, in this spring season. But they weren't, rogue level bad. They were still bad, though. They went 2-7. They only won, 5 of their 19 games. That's like he's basically replacing Reeker on that roster. In fact, I don't think they know who their jungler is supposed to be right now. I think it was supposed to be Bukata, but then there was some weirdness.
Took a giant $200,000 buyout on him or something like crazy like that.
Yeah, there's something weird going on, I think, with the buyout. Actually, there was some news today, if I recall correctly, or yesterday.
Well, again, I've been out of the loop for the past 4 days.
Yes, of course. Yeah, Curly, I mean, what do you think? Abadaga over to SK. I mean, what's happening here?
I mean, I do agree. I think he'll probably perform a little bit better in EU. I think it has to do with a few things. Number one, I think in the different environment, he might just care a little bit more. I think he might just put a bit more effort into his craft, and try harder with his team. I think it's also just the level of play over there and the play style, I feel like is something that he can actually just find a way to succeed in. I just don't feel, aside from the lightning in a bottle that was the 100 Thieves title winning team, I don't actually feel that his play style is something that fits well with North American teams and rosters. Like, it's not really worked around him. But over in EU, it might be able to fare better, especially because of how some of his opponents are. And I feel like the mid lane matchups in there also. I feel like mid laners in Europe are more respectful of each other during laning phase and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like that's how you get Larson power farming for ages and stuff like that. It's like they really don't do anything unless you have to over in EU.
Yeah.
That's how I feel they really play. Which is not entirely true of mid lane here in North America.
That's fair. I'm looking at I almost never go to the League of Legends subreddit, but I'm going there now because I'm like, I know there was some crazy news. Oh, Los Ratones won EU Masters or EMEA Masters once again, which is incredible to me. Like they keep getting away with it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you guys have any takes on this? I have one, but I want to let you guys go first.
On Los Ratones?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's kind of what happens when you take LEC caliber team and just put them a step lower.
Yeah.
I guess, are you asking from a sense of like whether they should be playing there at all, or in terms of like them winning, or?
Well, like them winning, should they be playing there at all? Should they just be in LEC, you know?
I mean, then I don't really have an issue with them playing in tier 2. I think the reality of the situation is I think it especially in the European environment where you have so many teams and so many resources to pick up from, I think it's just on the duty of like European GMs to build a roster that can actually compete and do that level of stuff. Granted, I know you're like, it's tier 2, so you're not like getting the prime stakes of like players as you will, but I mean that's just kind of the challenge of what you have to deal with. And if anything, in a sense, I think it should actually be beneficial because you have these guys who are LEC talent that you are getting to grind against, you're getting to scrim against, you're getting to like steel sharpen steel kind of situation, right? So I expect as like LR continues to play on throughout the rest of the year and possibly even the next further years, I don't know how long this will go on for, I imagine the players that they're playing against them will continue to get better and better, and that's only going to continue to level up the scene, in my opinion. So I think in general it's fine. I don't really have an issue with these guys, so to speak, smurfing, even though they're not really smurfing. Like they are getting pushed in a lot of these matches in the tier 2 scene. So yeah, I think it's great. Great narratives, great storyline, very easy access and entertainment. I'm down for more of it. What I hope for though is that they don't continue winning. I hope they finally get shut down in the summer.
Yeah, that's interesting. Curly, how about you? Any thoughts?
I mean, I think it's great for the livelihood of the scene over there. EU, granted, I think has always been a pretty well sustained like viewership environment. They've got a nice bubble going on. I think a lot of it also has to do in part with like how well their regional leagues tend to do. But I think the other thing is, like Nox says, is it does add a level of competitiveness to that tier 2, because I don't actually think they should be an LEC team per se. Because yes, I think they are LEC caliber. Yes, I think if they really like put in the extra effort, like they already put in a lot of effort, but if they really doubled down, I think they could be making playoffs in the LEC. But I think the goals of the org are kind of split. I think they are meant to be competitive and performative all at the same time. Because that's kind of Cadrill's shtick, right? Is like, he does have a lot of knowledge and he also has a lot of hype. Like he is single-handedly in the last 5 years carried like a central torch of Western League of Legends viewership and like people constantly compare mainstreams to his co-streams as a literal statistic just because of how that is. And so the Los Ratones is clearly a reflection of that. So I think they're good where they are. And Nox has a really good point. Like, I want them to eventually they should be taken down because that means that they really have pushed the rest of the regions in tier 2 to step up and earn their spot. And maybe that'll hopefully lead to a more competitive EU because they've been kind of slumping when it comes to their actually tier 1 competitiveness. I think a lot of people would agree on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but what was your take though, Sandy? You're the one who brought this up.
No, my take is basically like here we are. You've got these guys who are back-to-back EMEA champs, and LEC teams continue to like run these rosters that just they keep like cycling through EMEA players over and over again, and sometimes there's success, sometimes there's not. More often than not, they don't have success. Here you are with 5 veteran players who could all fit in on LEC teams and probably boost those teams to some extent. And, I don't know if those guys, like, they have the real desire to go do LEC and whatnot, like, if this is more a for fun thing for them. But to me, like, being in NLC, winning EMEA Masters, like, it doesn't seem too for fun to me anymore. Like, it seems fairly serious. I feel like these guys could go LEC, and I think it's a shame that I feel like EMEA teams in the LEC should be really seriously making offers or considering bringing these guys in, or just buy out the whole roster and see what happens. You never know. I just think like this roster could provide a lot of entertainment value in the LEC, and bring a lot of like name brand recognition to a league that frankly does not have it right now. Like, if you think NA has a problem with like name brand recognition with players, LEC, I would argue, is almost worse. Like, the only player that really is like still a mainstay from the good old days is Caps. And beyond that, maybe Broken Blade? But everyone else has moved on. And there's no, like, mega hype players anymore that bring... Maybe, like, Callist, I guess, actually had a lot of hype when he came in. But, they could use a few, like, big names to bring some eyes, put some eyes back on. I think it'd be good for the league. Purely from the entertainment standpoint. All right. First real FlyQuest topic of the night. The FlyQuest scrim record was dropped today by friend of the show, General Manager Andy Barton. And it, to me, revealed a few interesting things. But for one, a fairly dominating level in scrims throughout the entire split 2. The only team that I see being as regularly troublesome is Cloud9. Somebody in our Discord put together the stage and scrim totals versus each team. Cloud9, we went 31-21 against them, and that was by far the toughest opponent that we had. We scrimmed Dig, or played them, a total of 33 times. We won 31 of those games. We played Shopify the most.
Yeah, that DeMonte relationship paying off for Shopify, man. Let me tell you.
Sure.
Shopify got some good scrims. But
There's a reason why they suddenly skyrocketed up the power
yeah,
ranking.
because ultimately lose is improve, right? We won 75% of our matches against Shopify, 44-15. It's crazy. Wildly good results in playoffs. We won every single scrim set or stage result except for May 22nd when we scrimmed TL and we went 2-2 in scrims against them. I did appreciate seeing Maryville University on this scrim list. We did wind up going 14-0 against them, but I'm sure that was a great experience. I've seen two names for the team that was the McDonald's team that we scrimmed between for the final week leading up to finals. Cryogen was one and Hoarder was another. I don't know the other
McDonald's
three.
team. That's hilarious.
So the full roster, and it's a mix of different players, but the full roster in both sets, no matter what, was Nuke and Arrow were both playing, and the random field players were between Zamudo, Hoarder, Shimmer, Shaden, Mithy, and Cryogen.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's like a who's who list. Yeah, and obviously I would expect that to be a pretty dominant series of wins, but what are y'all's takeaways from the scrim record? For one, question is, do you like seeing the scrim record get released? This is something G2 has done for the last several splits. Now, here's FlyQuest dropping theirs. How do you feel about that? And two, what do these results tell you? Like, what are you taking away from these scrim records that we're seeing?
I am always down for more information. I love seeing this stuff. You can get great stats out of it. You can kind of get power levels out of it. It really gives you an idea of where the team's at and where the region's at, right? I will stand by the fact that even if you start doing badly, you need to continue doing it. You can't just do it when you're doing well. In which case, respect to G2, because they've always done it, even when they've had off splits. So if FlyQuest is going to start this trend of dropping scrim results, that's fine. But say come summer and you guys suddenly shit the bed, I don't care. I want to see the scrim results at the end of summer too. You need to keep it up. You need to be consistent about it. Other than that, what the scrims tell me, we are way too good for this region right now, man. And it's making me kind of nervous for internationals because I don't think we've been truly pushed. Cloud9 is the one team that's offering us that. And if it's the only team that's offering us that in the region, I have a feeling that we're going to get a little bit skill checked upon initial entry from any Eastern teams coming over here, or even possibly Europe coming over here. And it's going to be a quick, we need to hit the ground running to catch up kind of situation. That's what I'm nervous about.
Yeah. Curly, what about you?
Yeah, it's hard to say whether this fills me with confidence or concern. Because number one, it does fill me with confidence, showing that consistently, whether it's a stage day or a scrim day, we are showing up and we are, over 80% in terms of the win rate for everything is really crazy. Really, really crazy. I think, granted, because I don't think we've seen scrim records for other teams before, I don't know if since I've watched that I've seen this dominant, or at least universally dominant, of a split from any team. That does make me concerned of okay, we clearly showed we are the top dog in this region. Is that competitive, or is it just we were able to maintain a certain skill level while everyone else went down? And I feel, unfortunately, that there's a little bit of a chance that went down, especially because it's for most of Split 2, we were saying the top 3 are very clear, 4 or 5 is maybe wishy-washy, but bottom 3 are dead set. And granted, we ended up being a little bit wrong with the surgence of Shopify Rebellion, but on the flip side, we then just kind of had 100 Thieves take their spot. So we had a good half of the league functionally not really relevant to our details of how competitive we are. Because people probably aren't thinking much about what they're doing except for their fans. But I know as a region, as we look to MSI, we're mostly focusing on how FlyQuest did against Cloud9, how they did against Shopify, and how they did against Team Liquid, and even then with Team Liquid, you have them deteriorating a little bit. So it's like Nox said, where we really push for this. I still think that the same series that make people a little bit nervous is our longest best of three, or longest 3-0 ever against Shopify, and then our 2 full game 5s against Cloud9. Some people might show that as concerning and mean we might be vulnerable. I disagree with that. I think that means that evidence to look at to shape up before we go to everything this weekend. I see I must have cut out here for a second, by the way, so I don't know how much you missed.
No, you've been talking the whole time. You're still good.
Okay, good. But I don't know. Because there's plenty of evidence to look at of what we need to clean up. But that also showed me multiple times that we have a certain level of creativity that just does not exist in these other North American teams. And that's a lot of what I think the West universally has had to bring to the stage for years to be able to compete with LCK and LPL. So I'm thinking we'll be able to take that resilience, that self-awareness, and that creativity and perform above what some other people might be expecting, despite not being pushed as hard this split.
Yeah, I think, Nox, I go back to what you said, and I agree that you do have to... Oh, it does look like Curly cut out again. Oh, now I'm Curly.
Well, okay. Well,
it happens to the best of us. Oh, there's his box.
Is he back?
He is back.
I think he's back. There we go.
Nox, I'm going to agree with you and say that I agree about the part where you have to continue posting this even if next split goes bad. You've, laid down the gauntlet. Now you got to put up or shut up. Absolutely. I think the thing that stands out to me about these results is I think it really lays to rest any kind of any whisper of, Cloud9 was the better team, or, FlyQuest fluked their way in, or whatnot. This is clear, dominated every other team in the league. And even Cloud9, that it was closest against, we had a 60% win rate against. That's not it was 51-49. That's you win the vast majority of the games. Maybe not vast majority, but you win a good majority of the games.
80%.
Yes. Yeah. No. 60%. 60%.
Of the scrims?
Against Cloud9?
Oh, Cloud9. Sorry. Yes.
Well, yes, 80% of all scrims, 60% against Cloud9. And it's that consistency, I think, that really separates FlyQuest from the rest of the pack. Where this is not a stage-only team, right? They're not just showing up on the day and getting the job done. They are also getting the work in behind the scenes when no one's watching. Although people could be watching, because we could bring back streamed scrims, at any point, truly. I'd love to see that in the run-up to MSI, by the way. Just one day of hey, let's stream some scrims. That'd be...
I mean, listen, get a scrim against Los Ratones.
Yeah, just get something going. All right.
Oh, wait, no, they're out in the EU. My bad.
Well,
anyway.
They can afford to fly out here. All right, any final takes on scrims before we move towards our MSI Mega Banger preview time?
This is the most valuable the Bucks have bet.
Yes. I need LTA North teams to really take advantage of the fact that they're going to be Eastern teams here. I need to hear, I guess I don't need to see. I need to hear that Shopify, 100 Thieves, Team Liquid, Cloud9, even though they're not playing, I need to hear the fact that they're scrimming some of these other teams. I need them getting good reps in versus the other teams. I really, really hope to hear that the region is trying to level up and taking advantage of this opportunity of the fact that there are Eastern teams here and European teams here that are really trying to help level us up off of that back. So yeah, that's the only other thing I have to really say on scrims.
All right. MSI Mega Banger preview time.
Mega Air.
And I'm just going to keep calling it that. Okay. Play-ins starts Friday. Exciting times. G2 Furia and BLG versus GAM. I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but I just want to quickly get thoughts on it again. I think the expectation would be BLG and G2 make it out. However, G2 has looked a little shaky, even though they have made LEC finals, 2 splits in a row. So it's not like they're awful. They're still G2. They still should show up. I fully expect them to dominate Furia. Is there a world to you guys where GAM... Because I don't expect Furia to beat GAM. Is there a world where you guys see GAM sneaking in over G2?
Absolutely. 100%. I'm actually predicting that.
Okay.
You're predicting that? Okay.
You're predicting it. So what do you think it takes?
I think, here's the thing. Over the last few years, we've seen GAM, and then just like the regions that they've been a part of, like they have been kind of a catalyst for competitiveness and exception to the rule. Going all the way back specifically to NA World, when we hosted Worlds, and the craziest win you've ever seen a team from Vietnam have against a Chinese team, where it was base to base, like they backs against the wall, and then they won the whole thing. And so that alone, to me, like sparked kind of a consistent trend of you need to take GAM and Vietnam seriously until they are out of the tournament. Because yes, once they made the bracket stage, or not bracket stage, I'm sorry, once they made the Swiss stage at Worlds, they unfortunately trickled down. But in play-in stage and at international events, I always see them as very competitive. And then especially Levi. Levi has been at pretty much, I can't think of a single tournament that he's missed. Like, granted, I'm sure there's probably been one or two, but in the last few years, every time Worlds comes around, and most times MSI comes around, I hear Levi popping up. And so it's got some seasoned players over there. And then I know Artemis has had a couple of experiences himself. So I think this team is just ones you need to take seriously until they are out of the picture. And that's why I kind of see them carrying. It's kind of like a hopes and dreams, all right? I can never tell you specifically what is going on with GAM, and I don't need to, because they really are just a hopes and dreams team that carries that like energy behind them. Whereas now, as you kind of said, G2 hasn't really been looking like the G2 that they've been for years. They're looking a little sleepy. They just lost to Movistar Koi. So unless these last 2 weeks have been like a really, really big grind to turn it around, I'm not sure they're actually going to be able to pull it up as much. Because the other thing you have to think about too is international tournaments. Like, every competition, of course, is a matter of skill. But there is a certain thing, a certain energy that does make an exception to that rule, and it's who wants it more. Whoever wants it more is going to put in that extra effort to push harder. And I always think that GAM wants it more because when you see them at the stage, they are grabbing as much attention as possible. They are seizing their moment. G2, admittedly, to me, like, they try for MSI. I don't think they're that hurt if they don't do well at MSI. And so I don't think they're as motivated as GAM is. Well, because the West has a major thing of like nothing matters until Worlds. It's a very, very consistent sentiment, and I think that's even true within some players. So,
okay, interesting. Nox, what do you think?
Going to be honest, I'm putting it all on chalk. I was actually going to ask leading up to it, but I was just going to let you handle it, Sandy. But my question was going to be to y'all, like, does this play-ins just go to chalk? In which case,
Yes.
I'm leaning yes. I think it goes to chalk. I think you're gonna have GAM beating, you're gonna have BLG beating GAM. You're gonna have G2 beating Furia. Then you're gonna have BLG beating G2, and then I think the only thing I'm not sure on is Furia versus GAM. I think that'll be a very interesting best of 5 because I do think Furia has shown glimpses of potential. But in general, I think I still lean GAM. And even then, from there, I think you're going to get the GAM versus G2 match, and I think G2 still takes that. So I'm going to chalk on this.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I think I'm also very much on the chalk side of things. It's just hard for me to see a world where Furia takes it at all, where they, frankly, I don't think Furia is going to get a game. I hate to say it.
Against G2?
At all.
Oh, period.
Yeah.
You think even GAM will 3-0 them?
Oh, wait, are these best of 5s?
These are all best of 5s.
Oh.
Every match at MSI is all best of 5s.
Ooh. Will they get double 3-0'd?
I'm gonna say no on that one. I think
what?
they take at least a game.
You know what? Fury.
Are you sending it?
06.
Oh,
06.
Goodness.
Where's the Brazilian faith, Sandy? I thought those were your boys.
Oh.
I thought that was your squad.
Not
Not really, but you know what I mean.
I think they're gonna get outhandsed. They're just gonna get outhandsed. Like, just absolutely.
Hold on, I know Guigo's on this team. Who is
Tatu?
Who's
Toots.
Jojo,
IU.
not Jojo Pion, just Jojo.
The other Jojo.
Guigo, Tatu, Toots, IU, and JoJo? Yeah, I think honestly the big star of this roster is Guigo. I've been watching him a little bit on the early morning Saturdays whenever they've been playing. This guy is instead of Saturday morning cartoons, I got a little Saturday morning Brazilian league playing in the background before I go out and do stuff for the day. Yeah, I unironically though, I say this very genuinely. Guigo is someone that people should keep an eye on. I think he's a very, very good top laner. He's shown a lot of good things down in the LTA South, and I'll be curious to see how he stands up in international play. Rest of the roster, though, yeah, I'm kind of with you, Sandy. Better than Surdy?
Better than Licorice and Surdy to replace top laners?
So I will say he has good synergy with his team, whereas I don't think Sturdy and Licorice had good synergy with their teams. Mechanically, I would say absolutely yes, he's on par.
Interesting.
But I don't know, like if you bring him up to LTA North, I don't know how well he fits.
Right.
Mechanically, I think he actually can stand up to what Sturdy and Licorice can do mechanically. Yes.
All right, he clears Licorice and Surdy. So, a mid-tier top laner in the LTA North, perhaps.
Yeah, send it. I'll stand by that statement.
Excellent.
Bring him up.
So, all right. So let's look at. I don't know. Do you guys know how they're doing the draw for main bracket? I don't know if anyone.
So it's not random. A 1 seed has to play a 2 seed because there's pools. A 1 seed has to play a 2 seed. You cannot play obviously any team that's in your pool, and you cannot play another team from the same region. So, aka Gen G cannot draw T1.
So the pools.
And then on top of that, the
Gen
formatting
G,
of the bracket is that you cannot run into the same region before like winners finals, if I recall correctly.
Okay, so Gen G and Movistar Koi will not play each other round 1. CFO and Anyone's Legend will not play each other. We are guaranteed to not play T1. We are in the same pool as T1.
I think, because it's Pool 1 versus Pool 4 and Pool 2 versus Pool 3 is what it is.
Okay, if that's the case, we either play AL or we play CFO. Now, I know which team I would rather be playing.
So yeah, that was the other thing, is based off if play-ins goes to chalk, like the G2 and BLG advance, due to I forget what the exact logic is, but due to how the rules of the bracket placement work, we are obligated to play AL. We have to play AL.
Oh, wow. Okay, so maybe I do need to be rooting for Gam or Furia to knock out G2.
Yes.
All right. The Brazilian pride is back on. I'm here for it. No, that's very interesting.
Don't worry, it's gonna happen.
This will be an interesting bracket stage for sure. Just, I mean, like, thank God that there's a losers bracket, because
Right?
like this would be so awful if you get in here, you play one best of 5, and then you're done. I don't know, man. I actually don't feel terrible about playing AL. I know that's a lot of hubris, and it's like I'm probably gonna get what's coming to me for saying that. I don't feel awful about it. Curly, what do you think? If we're playing AL, like if everything goes to chalk, we play AL, or because like I feel pretty good about playing Flying Oyster. I feel really good about that.
Mhm.
But
Okay, actually, I got the full explanation. If you want me to do it, or you can finish your thoughts, Andy.
well, Curly, give me your thoughts here, and
Yeah.
then Knox, give me your thoughts, or give me the explanation.
I mean, listen, I'm very content with starting off with anyone's legend, because you know what we didn't get to do once at Worlds last year?
Play China.
Play China. I don't care what the results of the match are. This will be the first time that this team will have been able to litmus test themselves on stage against a Chinese team.
Yeah, that's very fair. It's a great point.
And so win or lose, I would be very excited for this matchup, because it's just something new altogether. And it would really then give me a gauge of like, all right, globally, how do I feel about this team? Because we've faced a lot of competition, but this is competition we've not faced. But on the other side, I would be hopeful. I would actually think we would fare potentially pretty well against TLPL, in particular this team. So send it. Let's do it. Let's light this fuse.
Right.
You
Let's
know?
go. Bring it on. No, I like it. All right, Knox, give me the full explanation here.
Okay, so again, just to reiterate, Tier 1, Genji, MKOI. So Korea, Europe, right? They will play Tier 4, in which case, if it goes to chalk, you're getting China, Europe, which alone, that dictates 2 matches, because you cannot have MKOI playing G2. So you will automatically have a Genji versus G2 matchup, and then you will automatically have a BLG versus MKOI matchup. That leaves you with Tier 2 versus Tier 3, in which case, making sure I understand
it would have to be AL versus FlyQuest, right?
Yes.
And
Because of where the brackets are, because you have to have T1 and Genji on opposite ends of the bracket, you have to have Europe on opposite ends of the bracket. And so because of that, you have to have also anyone's legend on the opposite end of where BLG's at. And because of that, you have to have Fly versus anyone's legend and CFO versus T1.
Wow.
Okay. And then so BLG versus
Genji.
No, BLG versus MKOI, and then Genji versus G2.
And Genji versus G2, and that's on one side of the bracket.
Yes, and the other side will be CFO versus T1, and then FlyQuest versus anyone's legend.
That's so interesting, because you then technically you have like the 2 Pool 1 teams on the same side of the bracket going.
Yep,
like, and if they then win, which I don't know if you could really say that MKOI is going to beat Genji. No, not Genji. Freaking BLG. Like, even if they win, then it's like, okay, round 2, winners semifinals, you have the 2 Pool 1 teams playing each other, which does seem a little early. But I guess maybe, like, I think that does mean... I think any matchup you get in this tournament, I think is going to be exciting. I really don't think there's a non-exciting matchup for me.
I think the most quote unquote resident sleeper matchup in the opening round is T1 versus CFO, and even then, I mean, I favor T1, but like CFO's nothing to like lounge about or
No,
snooze at.
I
You know,
don't- I
like
don't
they're
think
a respectable team.
Like I hear what you're saying about like the most resident sleeper. I don't even think it would be a resident sleeper game like or series. I think that'd be a pretty thrilling one.
Yeah.
Curly, your thoughts on how this bracket could shake out? Like lots of great matchup opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of interesting to me how like intricate the rules are that make it like potentially just not random at all. The downside that I don't like about that is that means the only way if things go the way you guys expect them to, and we have to have that locked in bracket, that means we have to go all the way to the end to face Koi. And I just want to see how an NA team would do against Jojo Kian right now, you know?
Yeah.
It would just be a fun check-in.
It would be yes.
But outside of that specific, like, I don't even know if I'd call it a grudge match. But outside of that specifically, this is kind of ramping up to be one of the most interesting, exciting MSIs I think I've seen to date. Just because, like you said, I don't think there's any sleeper matches. Every potential matchup feels very interesting to me because we've got a good mix of orgs like that are fresh faces, that are slightly different, that are really like showing their stuff, and then a few legacies in the, of course, Gen G, T1, and even I'd call BLG because they've been consistently at international tournaments for the last 3 years now. They're growing a little bit of their legacy. So it's a really good matchup.
Yeah.
At every stage.
No, absolutely. I agree. Nox, we talked about like maybe the most quote unquote resident sleeper matchup. It for you, if that's the, two chalk bracket, right? What in there really stands out to you as really exciting, really intense?
I think the most really exciting one for me, I think it's got to be G2 versus Gen G, right?
Yeah.
Like that matchup has so much history. I think
Korean
if G2
killers.
really, they've always been known as like the Korean killers, along with Flash Wolves. Along with that, I think if Caps is playing on top of his game, him versus Chovy is such a fun matchup. I think Broken Blade is another absolute monster that has to be dealt with right now in general. There's a lot of potential here for like a great matchup if G2 levels up. Clearly they did not level up in the finals, but hopefully that was a reality check for them and they really like kind of get it together and they can really show G what's up. I think for me that's the most exciting outside of Fly versus AL. I think I'm more excited for that one, but outside of that one, that's my next second exciting one.
Yeah. No, I agree. Okay, so let's turn it to the FlyQuest attention now. So, I mean, like, we feel pretty good about, taking on CFO. Less good about playing AL, but, that would still be, like, that wouldn't be terrible. How far do we feel this team can go in this tournament?
Round 3.
Round 3?
Absolutely.
And who do we play and how do we get there, Curly?
So it's going to be tough, right? Because if it's the specific matchup you guys we're quoting right now of playing anyone's legend first, obviously, you can tell how I'm speaking now. I'm going to vote the Hopium on that one. I'm going to say we beat them in round 1, make it up to round 2. That means if we're making round 3 specifically, we will have to have lost here. And so whoever we meet in round 2, because if we beat anyone's legend, who are the other 2 teams on our side of the bracket in this hypothetical?
I think we would be playing T1 next, I think. I want to say it's either T1 or Gen G. It's the Korean team is what I want to say.
Okay. Assuming they win their matchup then.
Assuming they win their matchup, correct.
And so if it's T1, then I wouldn't be surprised if they knock us down. If it's Gen G,
I want that revenge match, baby.
maybe we get to round 4 if we start off winning.
Oh, boy.
All right, so yeah,
Wow,
so
you're
if
you're
it's
taking us all the way.
that is in this specific case. If it goes AL, then Gen G, we make it round 4. If it goes AL, then T1, we make it round 3, because whoever we're going to face in the lower bracket, we're gonna beat. I don't give a shit who that is. We're just gonna beat it, and make it to round 3. From there, I will have been satisfied. That means we would have made top 4 at the tournament overall, and that is, for this team, I think a very, very good benchmark of where I'd want them to be. I'm shooting for the lofty goal of semifinalists at the very minimum. But I do know that one's a bit punch up. The other route, of course, is say, all right, we lose to anyone's legend. I still think whoever we face in that lower bracket, we're just gonna. I don't really care who. Like I said, I have good faith in our ability in the lower bracket, unless somehow we get the death mark of T1. The T1 is really the only team I'm legitimately concerned about here, and then even BLG. Those are teams that I'm not sure we'd fare as well against.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm certainly concerned. So, I mean, I'm very concerned about Gen G. Like, that's a very good team. And I'm also concerned about BLG for sure. I think, like, yes, they didn't win LPL Split 2, but I think they're very much a sleeper. Like, do not sleep on BLG. Like, that is a very good team. Yeah, Gen G, T1, like, the Asian team.
All 4 teams between Korea and China are just, they're scary. They're legit scary.
Unironically, the one I am not super worried about would be AL. I don't know why. Like,
oh, really? Okay, continue, sorry.
Like, I think they came on a lot stronger near the end of the split, but, like, there were points in time earlier on in Split 2 that I was just, like, not super impressed. But, I mean, that's just me. So, I think they're a very good team. They're definitely, like, they would be a favorite for this tournament. But, like, if there's a team out of, like, the Asian teams that could, like, just absolutely shit the bed, I would, and I had to pick one of the 4 teams, I would pick AL, personally. That would be my
So,
pick.
With that said, Curly, out of the 4 Asian teams that would possibly shit the bed, which one's your team that you think will shit the bed?
Because one will. One absolutely will. There always is one that looks awful.
Gen G.
Okay. So, Sandy, you're going AL. Curly's going Gen G. I'm going T1. I think T1's going to drop the ball. Do
you think they're fraudulent?
I thought I do think they're fraudulent. I think they've been super iffy this whole split, and then they ramped up for playoffs. I think they're going to have a rough time come MSI.
Nice. All right, so by deductive reasoning of what we've just said, BLG are going to be your MSI winners. If this was like World's Pick'ems where you had to have a crystal ball pick, this would be your time to make that choice right now. But alas, it's not quite like that. I still need to figure out how to change my icon on the MSI Pick'ems, by the way. Because I don't mind what am I, a teddy bear right now, I think. I like it. I would like to see what else is out there.
Yeah. I don't know if you can or not.
Dang flabbit.
But also, I just saw, by the way, it is confirmed that if both us and G2 lose, they are our bracket matchup.
I'm sorry.
Amazing.
You kind of broke up there for me a little bit. What did you say here?
Oh, sorry. So if both us and G2 lose, they are our lower bracket matchup. We will play G2 in the lower bracket.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Let's go. Very good.
This is going to be a great tournament.
I'm all in.
This is going to be so much fun.
Oh my gosh. If we do not get LTA North versus LEC matchup in this tournament, I will be absolutely beside myself. absolutely be
I,
myself.
I would be upset, but also, okay, the one way I would not be upset is if it's because we beat AL and then we don't play EU that way. I mean, I'm going to be sad we didn't play EU, but that means we took a series off of an Eastern team, and I would be very happy about that, and I would take that alternative.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so that actually segues me to my final question here for you guys. What should expectations be? Like, there's 12 teams. There's 10 teams. 2 will get eliminated. FlyQuest is guaranteed to be top 8 at this tournament.
Woohoo!
Woo! I think for me, like, you have to get... First of all, you have to win at least one series. You have to win at least one series. For me to consider this a successful tournament. You got to get to round 2. Even if you lose round 1 in uppers, you win round 1 losers and you make it to round 2, I'll be like, great. We top 6'd. That's good enough for me. If I think making it to round 3, so that's top 4. Actually, it might be top 4 at that point.
Yeah.
Top 4 would be like my reach goal. Like you're applying to colleges. You've got your floor college. Well, the floor is that we made it to MSI. Then the goal colleges, that would be top 6. The reach college for me here is top 4. You make top 4, mega success for this tournament for me. And anything beyond that is just like cherry on top of the ice cream. But I don't know, what for you guys, what are your, this would be success, this would be a reach, but I think it's achievable goals for this team?
I mean, I said it earlier in my analysis of how far we'll go. It's like, or how we get there. Is my reach goal would be round 4 lower bracket, semifinalist, top 3. That is my reach goal. I think there is a world where if a lot goes well, that is what we can achieve. And obviously, deep down, I always believe them all the way. Until the Nexus is destroyed for the last time, I'm going to put my faith behind them. I think my realistic goal, like, I am very confident in our ability to make top 4. I think whatever happens to bring us to the lower bracket will teach us a lot, and we will be able to incorporate that into our next challenges.
All right, so you're reaching high. Knox, how about you?
I'm looking at this, and I think my main goal this tournament is just beat G2. Beat G2. I guess, okay, let me put it this way. Either we beat anyone's legend and I'm already like expectations cleared. We took a series off an Eastern team. I'm loving it. It's great. My true expectations are we lose to anyone's legend. We have to beat G2. That is my bare bottom minimum line. That is what we have to do. If we don't do that, this is a failure of retirement, and we've got to figure out some way to level up NA again, because clearly this team that has 80% scrim win rate is not like they're not getting the practice that they need to actually find success. So yeah, they need to beat G2 at bare minimum. Hopefully they can beat AL. If not, they beat G2, and then I don't know if it's that they run into Gen G or T1, because I'm kind of predicting. I'm trying. They're running into another Asian team down on the bottom, and I'm hoping it's T1. If they run into T1, I think it's winnable. I really hope they can do it, but I think the reality is they're going to be lost out in round 2. If they just beat G2. Long story short.
Just beat G2.
Just beat G2.
That's all I care about.
That's all that matters. Take down G2. No, I like it. I think the expectations should be good. Like we should set high expectations for FlyQuest here. But anything can happen. All right, final question. Who wins MSI?
I'm going to send it based on what we said earlier, BLG.
Oh, I thought you were about to say FlyQuest.
Listen. Of course it's FlyQuest. There is no world that we do not win this tournament through and through. We're going to look at all the teams that we're scared of, tear each other apart before we even get to face them. And they're going to be thankful that we don't put them in the dirt ourselves and watch trees grow from their corpses.
Woo.
All right? And at that grand finals, we're going to meet the prodigal son of Jojo Pion. Welcome him back to North America with a clenched fist and open arms. And that is how we will secure the MSI trophy.
All right, so you've got BLG.
Yes, after that monologue, I have BLG.
Knox, how about you?
I think even though Curly highly doubts them that they're frauds, I gotta go. This squad went 18-0 series score wise. Actually, technically 19-0 because they had to play HLE one more time in the bracket to qualify for this. So they went 19-0 in series score. They haven't dropped a single series. Hold on, let me check a winner really quick, or the cup.
I do want to interject there. I do not think they are frauds. It is not that I think they are like.
Oh my God!
Anything up to this point has been a sham.
I didn't realize that.
You need to understand, Knox, that my international judgment is vibes based primarily. It has nothing to do with whether or not they're frauds. It's just the vibes.
Yeah, this entire year, they have dropped, let's see, because they went 18, 19, and then you have 22, 23, 24. They've gone 24-4 over this entire year in best of series. This entire year, not even this past split.
Wow.
In which case, two of their losses, by the way, were to HLE in winter, and they were both in Game 5 losses. And then they had, in best of threes, they had two other losses that I can't quite see what those were. But yeah, so the total of 4 series, 2 of which were best of 5s, both of which were to HLE, and then I don't know the group stage losses were, but still, yeah, Gen G looks insane right now. I have to give it to Gen G.
Yeah, I am also gonna, like, I think if Gen G doesn't win, it's a huge disappointment. Like, this is, like, you don't win, absolute flop. You have to, if you're Gen G, you have to win this. So will the pressure be too much? Will they crack? Will Chovy win an international title? I think he
won an MSI, I thought, back in like 2023 or something.
Will he win another international title?
Oh, let me hold on. Let me double check. Let me fact check.
Now I'm looking too.
EWC will go to 2024.
Oh, it's based on his nickname and Chovy.
Yes, Gen G literally won MSI last year.
With him on
it. With him on it, yes. Okay. They beat BLG with him on it, and they beat BLG 3-1.
Okay, yes. And then they lost in semifinals at Worlds. Yes, this was Keen Canyon, Pays, and Lahens. And now they've got Canyon, they've got Ruler and Duro. And Duro's actually been pretty solid. And Ruler just like, oh my gosh. Insane player.
It's just Ruler. What more do you need to say?
Do you remember when Keen was on a Freak of Freaks back in the day?
Yes, I do.
Dude, like, where has the time gone? He was on a Freak of Freaks for 4 years.
Well, it was that long?
Well, not even that. He was on a Freak of Freaks for 4 years, and then he was on Kwangdong Freaks for another year. So, like, 5 years with the Freaks organization.
Dang.
Yeah.
I did not realize it was that long.
That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. You know what else is crazy? The fact that we've been doing this show for about an hour tonight. That's crazy.
Yeah, right?
So we're going to wrap things up right there. Thank you all for tuning into another episode of Flight Check. MSI starts Friday. Finally, good times for North America. 3 p.m. on a Friday for the first match. 8 o'clock.
Amazing.
Most matches will be 8 p.m. at night for Eastern time. 7 o'clock for Central. There might be. I think there will be MSI going on when we do the show. If we do a show next week.
No,
There will be,
actually,
yes, on July 7th.
Oh,
Oh, there's nothing on. There's nothing on Monday.
Yeah,
There's nothing Monday next week, but July 7th, there is an 8 p.m. match scheduled for bracket round 2.
Oh. Oh
Mhm.
boy. What if it was the FlyQuest match?
bracket round 2.
I think it would be a lower bracket if I'm guessing.
Hold on. Wait. Let me look at past years. Let me look.
No, because Monday, Tuesday, yes, it would have to be a lower bracket because it's the old bracket round 2 is from Friday, the 4th of July, all the way through July 8th. So it would have to be lower bracket.
It would be low. It would be a lower bracket match. It could be right when we're supposed to be doing the show.
So FlyQuest could be playing that, or they could be playing the following night, 8 o'clock.
That would be.
Oh boy, that would be an illegal co-stream opportunity for sure.
Illegal co-stream.
Our definitely.
If we co-stream, Cage Rules co-stream.
Yeah, it's all.
Is it like legal at that point?
I think the show is small enough that Riot would have absolutely no clue. Anyway, so FlyQuest starts Tuesday-ish, maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday, maybe Friday, depending on when they play. You're going to want to follow us on Twitter for all our reactions and thoughts to the MSI banger matches that are coming up. You can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at SantosDB, Nox at NoxWar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_WQ_. Isn't that something, folks? Someday he'll get rid of the underscores. Make sure to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well. All kinds of esports discussion and otherwise taking place in there. If you missed any part of the episode, the VOD will be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. If you're watching that and want to catch the show live, we broadcast the episode usually every Monday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Nox, any final notes, shoutouts, or plugs before we call it a night?
I've been playing a lot of pickleball lately. I've been hard on the grind. I'm at like a 3.5 level, and I'm going for 4.0 by the end of July. So
is that like you're silver and you're going for gold, or
I would say
put this in League of Legends term.
I would say 3.5 right now is probably like high gold, and I'm trying to go for plat, and then eventually down the line I want to see if I can get to diamond, which is like 4.5.
Okay, I like it.
So we've been grinding hard. I've been like, I started at like a 2.5, and I'm at like, so I'm going for it.
Well, there you go. Shout out to pickleball.
All right, word.
Curly, how about you? Shout outs and plugs.
My shout out is going to be to the new movie K-pop Demon Hunters. I watched it last night with my roommate and his partner, and it was actually super fun the whole time. The animation is great. The energy is up the whole time. They've got some bangers in there. It was just a really good time overall. So if you want a good 90 minutes of fun, go ahead and go watch it. It's very, very, very worth it.
I am going to do an anti-shout out.
Oh my.
Friday night, we went to go see a movie. We went to go see The Materialists.
Yes, okay. I've been waiting to hear the review on this.
What it was advertised. Now, to be fair, I have no problem watching a rom-com. It's not my first choice of movie, but, I'll watch one here and there. My wife enjoys them. I'll watch them. There's usually some funny lines, whatnot. It's a nice way to spend an evening. We went to an Alamo near us. I was like, great, I'm going to bribe myself with a boozy milkshake.
Oh, yeah, those milkshakes are good, too.
Those are good milkshakes. We go, and if you've ever been to an Alamo, you know that they show like a bunch of clips or whatever before. So they're showing all these clips of like classic rom-coms, Sleepless in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally, The Wedding Singer, you know, just like all these great movies, right? Like classics of yore. And what this movie was advertised as is something along those lines. Like funny, you know, heartwarming, whatever. This movie was anything but. It was so serious. It was like over serious. It took itself so seriously. You guys know there's like a Family Guy clip where I forget what movie they're discussing.
The Godfather.
The Godfather, yes. And Peter goes, it insists upon itself, you know? Like this movie insisted upon itself. I will say it's great acting work on Pedro Pascal's part because his character is so unlikable. So unlikable. Dakota Johnson's character, incredibly unlikable. The only likable character in this purported rom-com is Chris Evans' character, who's like the only human, like real human character in the entire movie. Everyone else is like, everyone's jaded, just like not grounded in reality. And I'm not looking for, you know, a rom-com movie to be grounded in reality. It's a rom-com. It's supposed to be a little like out there, right? But this movie, as it gets going, it's not a rom-com. It's a drama. It's a drama movie. And when you've got that, you've got to have these characters grounded in reality. You can't have these like not wacky, you can't have these like so jaded and like soulless, emotionless robots, which is basically what Dakota Johnson and Pedro Pascal brought to the screen. My wife hated the movie. She said it was awful. So if you go to see this movie, do not expect a rom-com. I think so. Probably some of our dislike for the movie it's not what was advertised to us. This is a warning. If you're going to go see The Materialists, it's not, there's a few funny lines, but it's not that funny. It's way more serious than you're expecting. And it's just a romantic drama. That's kind of about it.
And maybe order 2 to 3 boozy milkshakes.
I should have gotten a second boozy milkshake. That was my critical error. Yes. Yeah. All right.
My goodness.
We'll be back next week to talk about MSI. Play-ins will be done, and we will have the full bracket laid out for us, so we will get into that. So for now, stay safe out there and bite your teeth. Do not forget to hit the head on the nail, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.